What's up, YouTube? SimplyUnlucky here, and today we're doing the classic, the nostalgic, the deck profile for the booster box battle between the Dark Crisis and Magician's Force. And then I want to ask you guys to check out the channel and subscribe for more epic Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Alright, you guys, so before we get right into this deck profile, first I wanted to go over a couple different things for you guys. The booster box battle will be posted later today, so this should be posted either in the morning or early afternoon, but later today, later in the evening probably, the booster box battle will be posted, you guys, and please, you guys, be ready for that because it's something we've never done before. It's a super edit, I guess is what we're going to be calling it for now, and basically it's going to be just like a project or a type of booster box battle that we haven't really done anything like that before because yeah, it's crazy. So it's a super edit, you guys, and please give us your opinions and your comments on how we did on that video because yeah, it definitely took a lot of time and we're looking forward to making more content like that for you guys. So be prepared, you guys, for this epic booster box battle coming out between these two sets, a super edit. Alright, you guys, so getting right into the deck profile here, we have the Dark Crisis and the Magician's Force. And so first we're going to go over the Magician's Force deck profile for you guys. And these decks are pretty cool, pretty classic, pretty simple. The Yu-Gi-Oh, the classic Yu-Gi-Oh, how I like it anyways. Definitely one of my favorites type of formats back here with Magician's Force and Dark Crisis. The issue was with these decks is Dark Crisis has a lot of, I don't know, the best way to describe it would be like 1-for-1 cards. Because back in the day, when you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, it'd be all about making sure that you got back what you spent or what the cost was to do something, that at least you got it back. So there's a lot of 1-for-1 cards here, and then in Magician's Force though, you have a lot of cards that are like 2-for-1, meaning you're expending more of your resources in order to gain control of the game. So that's the issue we found with the booster box battles, but at the same time it was still a pretty good battle. So you guys will see what I'm talking about later on. Alright, so we have the Dark Core for the Magician's Force spell here. Definitely a very powerful spell card. It's discard one card from your hand to the grave to remove from play a monster on the field from play. So the fact that you have to discard a card makes it a little difficult, but there are a few cards in here that help you draw and gain some additional cards to your hand, so that's nice. But yeah, removing from play face up monster, that's very good. Big Bang Shot is 400 attack points and piercing for a monster on your side of the field, or no, just a monster in general. And then the issue with it though is if it's removed from the field, your monster, the monster it's equipped to, is also destroyed. So you can sometimes combo with this by equipping it to your opponent's monsters and then destroying it, and then remove some play your opponent's monster. But that's not really something you can come across in this booster box battle. But yeah, you gotta be careful because there is a couple destroy equipment cards in both these decks, or destroy monsters that are equipped and so on. But yeah, still a pretty good card. 400 in piercing is very nice for a booster box battle. And the almighty Mass Driver. This card's been banned for a long time now, I believe. Offer one monster on your side of the field as tribute to inflict 400 points of direct damage to your opponent's life points. Just a crazy card, and I mean, even now on the format, if this card was legal, it'd probably just be an easy 2,000 damage to your opponent because of all the monster shenanigans you can do. But yeah, decent to play in a booster box battle. Helps you get there for game over if you're trying to get there by tributing some of your monsters for 400 points of damage. And then Autonomous Action Unit came in handy a couple times, but once again, it's equipped, so you might want to watch out. It's pay 1,500, select a monster in your opponent's grave, and special summon it to your side of the field. Equip it with this card, and then equip is destroy that monster type deal. So pretty interesting. Could definitely come in handy every now and then. And then we have My Body as a Shield for those Sakuretsu armors. We didn't want to put too many of these in because you do have to pay the 1,500 points to use it. And I think you can only actually activate it in response to Sakuretsu, so that was interesting. We put in one Megaton Magical Cannon. We did a couple different duels for those of you guys that are watching. We did one where I used Magician's Force and Alex used Dark Crisis, and that'll be the booster box battle we're posting later on today for this channel. And then later on this week, maybe, or next week, we'll be posting the booster box battle again on Simply Yu-Gi-Oh, where I use Dark Crisis and Alex uses Magician's Force. And so we actually changed the deck up and took out a lot of the spell counter cards because, but yeah, so there was a version of the deck we used with this and a version without, and I'll explain kind of after we go through this deck as well. Disarmament, destroy all equipped spell cards on the field. So there's a way you could combo with Big Bang Shot, and I might have wanted to play 2 of these because there's a lot of equipments in there as well. So But yeah, still a good card, but I mean, it's pretty useless if there's no equipments, obviously, on your opponent's side of the field or your side to combo with. Pineapple Blast, it's when you summon a monster to your side of the field and you have less monsters than your opponent. You can destroy as many monsters your opponent controls until they have the same amount of monsters as you do. Interesting card to play, one of, I would think. And then Spell Absorbing Life is the opposite of Ceasefire. Instead of dealing 500 points of damage, you gain 400. So, yeah, makes all flip effect monsters, or face down monsters flip face up, then you gain 400 for each effect monster on the field. Amazoness Archers is an interesting card. If an opponent's monster is attacking and you have an Amazoness on your side of the field, all your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack permanently, and then they must attack this turn. So I believe I may have used this card wrong in the booster box battle. Like, I thought they were forced, all monsters were forced to attack the Amazoness, but no, they were just forced to attack, period. So, interesting card. Thunder of Ruler is negate the battle phase, but you have to use it during your opponent's standby. So it's a cool card to use if you know you're going to need to like tribute summon or something like that, and or if you know you need to stall out for a turn. Anti-Spell is remove 2 spell counters, negate a magic, and it has the Pitch Black Power Stone in the picture, so there's 2 of them right here. This is get 3 spell counters to this card, and then once per turn you can move it to one of your spell counter cards that can have a spell counter. Yeah. And then that's it for magics and traps. So overall, the lineup's consistent and pretty good. Like for a classic booster box battle, I think this deck would have done pretty well against other decks. The thing is, Dark Crisis is pretty dang good itself. So it's going to be a pretty insane duel for you guys to check out later on. Alright, so for the monsters, 3 Giant Orcs, that's pretty overpowered. 200 attack, Dark Monster, 0 defense though. Switches to defense at the end of the turn. Change the defense position at the end of the battle phase, and then it can't be changed until the end of the next turn. So similar to Goblin Attack Force. Then Dark Blade for an 1800 beat stick. And Amazoness Paladin, we have 3 of those in here. She's automatically an 1800, and then she gets an additional 100 attack for each Amazoness. So she's a 17, then she gets the 100 for herself, but then if you summon more, she can get up to 2,000 with the other Amazoness on the field, so if you have all 3. And then Amazoness Tiger can also help for that, and it gets 400 attack for each monster on your side of the field that includes Amazoness. So it gets 400 for itself, and then it could be 19 if I have a Paladin on the field. Tribe Infecting Virus, ban card, very powerful. Works well against that deck as well. Destroy all those fiend monsters. But yeah, still you do have to discard, which can be difficult to destroy all face-up monsters of a single type. Tribe Infecting Virus. And then here's some defense cards. You got Roll Out Barrel, which is once per turn, roll 2 dice and then destroy a monster on the field with stars equal to one of those rolls. Yeah. I don't know if I actually ever got that card off one time. I just cannot roll a 4 if my life depended on it. Alright, Royal Magical Library. This is each time a spell is activated, put a spell counter on it, and remove 3 to draw 1 card. So 2 of those. And then very powerful card for Booster Box Battle is Apprentice Magician. You can normal summon or flip summon it to put a spell counter on a card. Or if it's destroyed as a result of battle, you can special summon a level 2 or lower Magician monster or Spellcaster monster from your deck in face down defense position. So you can go special summon the Old Vindictive, 3 of those in here. This is a Man-Eater Bug type card, but it can only destroy your opponent's monsters. And so flip, destroy one of your opponent's. 2 stars. Very nice. Very good for a Booster Box Battle. Put 1 Magical Plant Mandragora in here. This is get a spell counter on all face-up cards that can get a spell counter. So that's pretty interesting. Works well with these Magical Marionettes. Magical Marionette's a 1 tribute monster, 2,000 attack. Each time each time a spell card is activated, place a spell counter on this card. Increase the attack by 200 for each spell counter, and then you can remove 2 to destroy a monster on the field. So it's pretty nice. Definitely a very good card. I think I mentioned this before when I was opening the booster box, but Magical Marionette was a card that I definitely played all the time when I was first starting to get cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I started probably after LOB came out, maybe in the middle of MRD or whatever. But as you know, more sets came out. I was still young at the time too. I was like 10 or 11 or something. And so when Magical Marionette came out, I was like, this is a really good tribute I could use to deal with my opponent's monsters. And because I didn't have like Regeki and Harpy's Feather Duster for a while and those kind of really powerful cards. So it was a card that really helped out in some of my duels. But of course, when I played against somebody that had all those expensive and valuable cards, I would get obliterated. But you know, it was still fun to be able to at least contend with some of the people that didn't have all those valuable cards. Magical Marionette was one of the cards that helped. And then Chaos Command Magician. Interesting card to get the effects of effect monsters that target this guy. So it would stop Maneater Bug or Old Vindictive from killing it, stuff like that. And it also looks freaking awesome. So Chaos Command Magician. Very cool. And that's pretty much it for this deck. So what we ended up doing for Simply Yu-Gi-Oh! Is we wanted to put in some burn to see how it worked. And so we took out like some of the spell counter cards. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and yeah, maybe a couple others over here like Mandragora and stuff like that. And so there's an idea, and what we put in was Des Koala, a couple Secret Barrels, Amazon's Tiger, and then another Amazon's Archers to see how well that works, stuff like that. So messed around with it a little bit. Okay, so there is Magician's Force, you guys. Now let's go over the Dark Crisis. Alright, so for our magics, we have our equipments here, which is Wicked Flame Burge Boa. And this is one of the better equipments in the set for sure. Extremely good for booster box battle. It gives 500 attack, and you have to discard a card in your hand to use it. And then whenever that monster destroys a monster, that monster has no effect. So it has the Dark Ruler Hades kind of effect. So that's pretty good. Gravity Axe Garl is 500 attack, and then monster positions cannot be changed if it's face up. So that's pretty nice. Not if this card's face up on the field. So it keeps face down monsters face down and stuff like that. And yeah, just a good card to use to stop your opponent from gaining any momentum from using their flip effect monsters and whatnot. Or if you're trying to wait out to get yourself a Flameberg to start attacking those flip effect monsters, that's also a good plan. Twin Swords Flashing Light Trice. Alex was able to put this card to good use a couple times, so definitely works well with more powerful monsters. It's minus 500 attack, and then the monster can attack twice. So, but you do have to discard a card to use it, so that's why. A lot of these cards, though, we only play one in the deck because, well, Flameberg Boa, we only had one, but we have, what's his name in here to search out equipment, which we'll go over in a bit. And Falling Down, we pulled one of these. If there was multiple, that'd be pretty insane, but this is the Snatch Steal for Archfiends. If there's an Archfiend on your side of the field, or if there isn't an Archfiend on your side of the field, this card's automatically destroyed. But it says equip it to an opponent's monster and take control of that monster until forever, until this card's destroyed, and then you take 800 damage during each of your standbys. So it's a good card, definitely very good to reverse, you know, the flow of the game very quickly. I mean, Snatch Steal was always known for doing that, but the requirement to have an Archfiend on your side of the field does make it obviously not as good as Snatch Steal, and you do need to pay life points instead of your opponent gaining life points, which I'd say is definitely worse. But still a very good card, and once again, you can search it out with the guy that, we'll just say his name here, Iron Blacksmith Kotetsu. Search flip, select one equipped card in your deck, add it to your hand. So that guy was extremely good back in the day for searching out Snatch Steal and Premature Burial, because those are both equipment cards. So, but yeah, Falling Down, definitely one of those equipped cards that are extremely good. And then we put in 2 Shooting Star Bows because it's a good card to use on your opponent's cards. And so it's minus 1,000 attack, and especially if you're like, if you have a blacksmith that searches it out, so it's minus 1,000, and then you can get over their monster, and then you could tribute Kotetsu for some other monster. You know, it's just like, it's a really cool card to have. And then also, it allows the monster to attack directly, so you could use it on yours to give it minus 1,000 to just finish the game. So a very fun card to play around with. Very Spring is getting equipment back from your grave out of your hand. You can't use it that turn though. But just an interesting card to use maybe towards the end of the turn to get some cards back and whatnot. Pandemonium, definitely interesting card to have. It gives you a sense of chaos. It makes your opponent have to deal with a whole new field spell and type of Archfiend effects at the end there. And basically, when this card's on the field, your Archfiends, you don't have to pay for the effects that you have the standby phase, the maintenance cost, I guess you would say, for the Archfiends. You don't have to pay for that, and then also it has a cool effect that each time an Archfiend card is destroyed and sent to the grave as a result of battle, that player can select an Archfiend from the deck that has fewer stars added to the hand. But we don't really use that effect because we only have really 4 stars in here. So, and then 2 Dimension Gates. This card is extremely good in Booster Box Battle. It works well with cards that the monster has already used it's already been used for its resourcefulness. So like if you flip Kotetsu, go get an equip spell, and then you use different dimension gate, remove Kotetsu from your side of the field, and then remove an opponent's monster from their side of the field. Pretty crazy. There's no MST or Heavy Storm, so this card automatically works and stays on the field. It says select a monster on you and your opponent's side, remove them both from play, and then return those monsters to the same position when this card is destroyed. So very powerful, like I said, with a monster that's already been used for its resourcefulness. And then also a card that it worked well with was like Archfiends Roar. This is like a mini Call to Haunt. It says pay 500, bring back a Archfiend monster. This monster cannot be offered as a tribute and is destroyed during the end phase. So that's a good way to bring back a monster, attack with it, do something with it, and then main phase 2 you can remove it from play and then remove one of your opponent's monsters from play. So there's a cool combo. And then you could also use Altar for tribute with it as well. So if you go different dimension gate, select one monster each player from you and your opponent. So you select yours, select your opponent's. I believe you can like chain Altar for tribute on your card, and then only an opponent's monster will get removed. Stuff like that. Okay, and then really Eternal Rest. Oh, well, Altar for tribute is select one monster on your side of the field, send to the grave, increase your life points by the attack. Original attack. Really, Eternal Rest is destroy all monsters equipped with equip cards. So this works well against your opponent, but be careful, it could hurt you. And then 3 Sakuretsus. I mean, we're trying to use this deck at full power, so yeah, Sakuretsu, I've said it before, is the poor man's Mirror Force. Back in the day, it definitely was. I mean, I remember playing 3 of this card for like a couple of years because I couldn't, getting my hands on a Mirror Force when I was 10, 12 years old was pretty hard to do. And so, but yeah, Sakuretsu. Very powerful. Only activate this card when your opponent's monster clears an attack, destroy the attacking monster. And now for the Dark Crisis monsters, the ones that caused all this pandemonium in the first place. We play 1 Guardian Bow. This guy's pretty insane. If he destroys a monster, he gains permanent increase of 1,000 attack, and then monsters destroyed by this card have no effect, I believe. Yeah. Also negate the effects, yeah. So it's pretty crazy. If you actually can get it off once, and because it's an 800, so you need to use it at least once. If you get it off once, that's pretty nice, because this is at 1800, and then you can just keep going from there. The issue with him is you have to have Guardian Bow on your side of the field in order to even get him out there in the first place. You can set him though. Can be normal summoned, flip summoned, or special summoned, but you can't set. So that works, I guess, but you can't flip summon him. So Guardian Trice, same deal. It has to have, what's it called? Swords of Flashing Light Trice on the field in order to summon this guy. And then when he's tribute, so it's costs he's a 1 tribute monster, and when you tribute summon for him, if he's destroyed, you can bring back that tribute summon monster. So he's just a cool card to play. And you guys are probably thinking like, why would I play those 2? But you can search them out with the Arsenal Summoner, so it makes the deck even more consistent to have cards you can also search out as well. So Arsenal Summoner is a 1600 attack and defense monster. That's flip effect. Search your deck for a card that includes Guardian in its name and add it to your hand. Then it gives you some cards you cannot search for, but you can search for those Guardians. So that's pretty freaking insane for a booster box battle to have an Iron Core Blacksmith that can search out these equipments, and then have a Arsenal Summoner who can search out Guardian cards. So that's pretty crazy. Like that's a consistent deck. And then not only that, you have the Dark Scorpion cards in here. Minay the Thorn, whenever she deals any sort of direct damage or battle damage to your opponent, you can search out another Dark Scorpion card. Or Cliff the Trap Remover. Cliff was in Magician's Force, but we just wanted to put him in here because it looked cool. So we put in a Gorg because he's a cool tribute monster that has an awesome effect, and when he's equipped with any of these equipments, he gets pretty dang insane. And so we put in Minay in here because Minay can, I don't even know if I'm Minay, yeah, whatever. Minay can search out another one, so that way that you can kind of consistently get cards to your hand. And also, if she's in defense and she's attacked by a monster that's less than 18, that's a way of getting in one of these monsters to your hand as well. You could also get them from your grave to your hand, so just a cool, consistent card to use. I remember messing around with it back in the day as well. Cliff the Trap Removers destroys a spell or trap when he deals direct damage, so that's pretty good against some of those equipment cards like Big Bang Shot and stuff like that. And Gorg says, return a monster on your opponent's side of the field to the top of the owner's deck if he deals any sort of direct damage. So that'd be pretty good if you attack over monster in attack position and he's equipped or something, and then you can send their face down monster to the top of their deck. Card that makes this deck way too broken is Tsukiyomi, or just a really broken card, general Tsukiyomi. Yeah, you can flip your Arsenal Summoners and Iron Core Blacksmiths back face down, and then flip them back face up. and you can flip face down any of your opponent's monsters and attack them. A lot of them don't have a very strong defense, so yeah, Tsukuyomi, when she's normal summon, flip a face up monster on the field face down, and it's an insane card. And then it bounces to your hand at the end of the turn, which is normally bad, but it's really good, so you can keep using that flip face down effect. So Tsukuyomi, pretty crazy. Reflect Bounder's okay. Definitely a fun card to play around with. Like I said, he was using Chaos decks back in the day. For a booster box at battle, he's definitely fun. When he's attacked, though, your opponent takes the original attack of the monster that attacked, or just the attack of the monster that attacked, and then this card's destroyed. So, no matter what, they at least take 1700. And then Memphis the Infernal General, 1800 attack monster that it's basically the opposite of Air Knight. He has piercing and then discards a card from your opponent's hand when he deals battle damage. Two great Maju Garzets. This is an epic tribute card in here that is just basically the attack of the monster this guy is tributed for becomes, when you tribute summon a monster, when you tribute summon this guy, the attack of the monster that was tributed is doubled for this guy's attack. So the original attack. So equipping it doesn't help for anything like that. But yeah, so a good scenario with that guy would be like, you know, tributing your Reflect Boundary, he's a 3400, tributing one of your Archfiend monsters we're about to go over, he becomes a 38 or 4000. So you have Arsenal, or you have Infernal Queen Archfiend. We're playing with the errated version of this card. So basically it's a 900 attack, and during the standby phase, you pump one of your Archfiends on the field by 1000, and yours and your opponent's. And so there's a period after that. It doesn't say until the end of the turn. And I remember it was errated like, I think it was like a few months after. It was pretty quickly from what I remember. I know some of you guys played back in the day as well, but if you can remember, I'm not sure how quickly it was errated, but basically, yeah, Infernal Queen Archfiend had a permanent increase of 1000 attack to an Archfiend monster during each standby phase. So it was actually pretty insane. No matter what, it was a 1900 because your opponent's standby phase would come, and then your standby phase would come and be a 2900, and then 39, 49, but you could actually do it to any Archfiend monster. But yeah, so we're keeping it till the end of the turn, so it's not too insane. So it itself can be a 1900, but it can also pump up other Archfiends. And then it has the maintenance cost of Archfiends, which is, this one's pay 800, no, 500, and then you can roll a dice to negate effects that target. Archfiend Soldiers to 1900 beat stick. Shadow Knight Archfiend 2000, but you do need to pay maintenance cost of 900 for this guy, so he gets pretty costly for that. And then, but life points he deals to an opponent is halved, or battle damage. Whatever. And then Terror King Archfiend, he can only be summoned if you have another Archfiend on your side of the field, but he does have the Dark Ruler Hades effect. When he destroys an opponent's monster, no effect. And then, and then he has a roll 3 different, 2 or 5, and he negates effects that would destroy him. And then, yeah, pretty good. And then the Almighty Skull Archfiend of Lightning. That's pretty cool that we got a Terror King and a Skull Archfiend of Lightning in our booster box. This is the 2500 for 12, and just has the negate. When this card is designated as a target effect, roll 6-sided die. For this one, it's 1, 3, or 6. And that actually comes up in the booster box battle, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so overall, definitely some pretty insane decks for a booster box battle. I'm really excited to use these decks. It's really cool that we got the Pandemonium deck, or the Archfiend deck, out and ready to go for a booster box battle. Overall, what do you guys think? Which is the better deck? In the description below. I think they're both definitely pretty nice. And like if you get out your combos for either of these decks, I think they can both get rolling pretty quickly. So, but yeah, you guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of which deck will be better. And of course, stay tuned for that booster box battle, which will be coming out later today, you guys. So, and once again, it is a super edit, you guys. So please give us your comments and opinions on that video, and it's gonna be insane. And as always, you guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, and SimplyUnlucky signing out.